That was weird. I don't know why that failed. Oh, nope. There we go.
There we go.
All right. Sorry for the delay, folks.
So we are officially live on Facebook. So just so everybody knows right now who's in the chats with us on Facebook and within the panel here, we actually did something a little bit different today. We tried to do this through the Facebook side first and then go to the Zoom side. Apparently it was very clunky that way. So we're reversing it, doing it to the Zoom side, to the Facebook side. If you guys are interested in more about that, we could talk about that on another topic. But today, again, I want to introduce myself. This is the AV Tech Talks. My name is Omar Colom. I'm the creator of AV Educate. I'm here with my two co-hosts today, Ed Wallach and Christopher Brown. We'll be going over the OBS today. Chris Brown is in my lower left side, Ed is on my right side here. And my internet, I know, is a little bit clunky today, so I'm going to let Ed kind of run this a little for me. We also got Scott Monroe's going to help monitor the Facebook page and kind of get your comments to us and everything. I want to let you guys know real quick that we are going to be here for you as much as we can. My stream will be going in and out, so I'm going to try not to be as active. I'm going to let Ed kind of run with this one, and Chris Brown will be doing a deep dive into OBS off of the comments we got from last time. So the more we comment with you guys, the more you communicate with us, the more we can feed off each other and kind of grow what you guys want to see and provide that for you. So again, I'm going to let Ed take it off and go from there.
Great. So yeah, welcome everybody. We've got our panelists here who are going to sit back while Chris gives us a little bit of demo, and then we'll go into our round robin chat kind of at the end and have a group discussion. Please, at any time, feel free to give us comments in the Facebook comment area, questions. Scott will be kind of monitoring that for us, and he'll get back to you. He'll pass those questions along so that hopefully everybody can learn a little bit tonight. So with that, I guess, Chris, do you want to kick it off?
Sure. So what we're going to do today is we're going to kind of do an intro to OBS type of thing, where I'm going to go through, for those who don't know what OBS means or what OBS is, how to download it, how to find it, and how to find your stream keys to the platforms that you're going to stream to, and how to put them into OBS. We'll go into a little bit of behind the scenes stuff as far as like what to your video source should be set at, high minimums, low minimums. Obviously, is all going to depend on the rig that you're using. When I mean rig, I mean computer or whatever you're using to stream out from. Is all going to differ a little bit. But I'm going to go over some of the basics and those things, and kind of give you just a intro dive into OBS. So we will start off with right here. And is it not taking that one? It is. Okay. So first thing you're going to do, it doesn't matter what platform you go to, you are going to go into your Google Chrome, Firefox, Safari, whichever it is. Obviously, Googling for it is the best source. But if you just type into OBS, it comes up. That's the wrong one. Why did it pull that one up? I have a few things open in the background trying to make sure that we keep everything. So it's called obsproject.com. That's where we find it at. So I'll go ahead and open it. And as you can see here, you can download it for Windows, Mac, or Linux. So what you'll do is you'll click on those, whichever one pertains to you in the system that you're running on. Go ahead and download it and get it set up. For those who don't know, it says right here as well that OBS is Open Broadcaster Source. What that means is it gives you the ability to plug and play a lot of things into your mix here in OBS in order to make your stream do what you want it to do. A couple of things are done a little differently. Some of them are simple, which that'll be in a later talk of, or a deeper dive into OBS. Some of those are a little, they're either in OBS or they're existing downloads that you have to do in order to get it into your OBS. So this is where you originally get it. Then once you get it from there, let's go ahead and change the screen share to my OBS. This is what OBS looks like. As you can see, I have it a little bit different than some of you might notice it. I stream to Twitch mainly, so all my Twitch feed stuff is here that I need for myself. So what we'll do is we'll go into, and how do you start with OBS? So now that you have it downloaded, you're going to want to get your system set up. So what you'll do is you go into File here, you go to Settings. When you're in your settings, this is the back end of OBS where you typically set stuff up. If I'm going too fast for anybody, just let me know. I will slow down. Where you go to input your information and start off is right here where it says stream. As you can see in the stream key here, this is where your services will differ depending on where you go. We're going to touch on the more common ones today. We're going to touch on Facebook. We're going to touch on YouTube, and we're going to touch on Twitch. Those are the three most common platforms. I am going to go into a little bit of Yellow Ducky for those that have Instagram, that want to use Instagram Lives, just so that way you know how that one goes. It's nothing crazy, but we'll go into that one. So the first place we'll go is we'll start with Facebook. That's where we're at. So why not start with where we're at to find out how to get your stream key? Let me do this. Let's stop share for a second. Are there any questions as of now from anybody that's on the panel or anybody in Facebook of anything that you need me to explain a little bit? Hello?
So I just had a question real quick. So I saw when you were downloading this, it said Mac, Mac PC and Linux. Haven't seen it on the Linux side, but is there any major differences between the three, or they're pretty much universally the same?
No.
Or is there just like some slight differences?
Great question. No, the OBS source itself is the same on all platforms, so it's going to look identical. Obviously, the differences are in the top of OBS and how things close and open. So Mac has their little colored lines, dots, or whatever that they use to close and open. Linux is no different. Linux is just like Windows. It has the X, minimize, maximize. So it'll close exactly the same way. Good.
Go ahead, Omar.
So yeah, other than the OBS platform, and I guess some things we can stumble on YouTube and what we're doing here, is there any manual or any other application we can use to learn OBS other than through other users and stuff like that?
Unfortunately, there is not an open manual. Now, there is blogs and forums on the obsproject.com website, which again are all forums and things that people have discovered or learned or done on their own and found out through using OBS or playing with OBS. A lot of the things that you can find, they're simple things. You can always YouTube them, anything like that. There is no manual. So most of the stuff that I've found with OBS is either watching other YouTubes and finding it out, or accidental habit. Playing with OBS, trying to break it, and I found something pretty cool that didn't break it, actually worked really well. So that's kind of how I stumbled upon a lot of the things in OBS. So
Awesome.
Any other questions? All right, cool. So what we're going to do is I'm going to move into finding your stream key. How do you find your stream key, and where is your stream key located? So again, we'll go back into whatever browser source you use. And the browser source that I use is Google Chrome. So we'll start with Facebook. So when you log into your Facebook, this is how your Facebook looks for most people. I don't know too many people's Facebook that's differed on a computer. On the phone, it might be a little bit different for mobile. I think it's almost generally the same for mobile with the icons, though. So what you're going to do is, this is my home splash for my Facebook page. You see here, you have home, you have watch, you have your marketplace, your groups, gaming. Now, there's two ways you can get it. This is the easiest way to get it to put your stream key in OBS, and I'll explain why once we go there. There is another way where you can go live, and when you just click on the gaming one, it takes you to a whole new interface. Under the new interface, you'll see your streamer dashboard here. Again, it doesn't have to be for gaming. Streaming to Facebook can be used for anything, and you can still put it in groups. You can change it around. So as you see, I'll go in my streamer dashboard. Wrong one. Why did it not my streamer dashboard? I apologize. That's on my analytics. Change that. Oh, we'll just do that. That's the Facebook business side. Don't pay attention to anything you've seen there. No, I'm joking. You click on the go live, and when you're on the go live segment, like I said, this isn't just for gaming, because you can see I have a few different Facebook pages that I manage here. I can choose literally share to my timeline, in a group, anywhere, and I can stream to there. So don't think that you going into the gaming section is putting you in a gaming category only. You choose where it's going. As you can see right in this box here, it says going live to Facebook, new live on pages, get started. It says use your stream key. Right here is your live stream setup. You'll see your server URL and your stream key URL. They give you instant copy buttons. So what you do is you want to copy your server URL. Now you don't have to, because when you come in here and you go Facebook Live, it'll default it for you. Some platforms that you use, we're just talking about OBS now, but what that's for is there are some other platforms that require you to identify the server that you're going to. So you need the RTMPS in order to do that. But in this case with OBS, you do not need that, because it gives it to you. It's a default program already. So all you have to do is copy your stream key and paste it right here where it says stream key. And even if you don't have it here, you can get, and sometimes it'll allow you to log in. I'm not sure if OBS fixed that for all platforms. I know it was not active for YouTube, Twitch, Mixer, and there was another one that it was not active for. Facebook, I think, was the only one that you can log in through OBS and it would auto-generate your stream key from your Facebook. Your stream key is unique to you. Unless you ask for a new one, you will not get it. You will not change. It does not change. You don't have to switch it every time you go live or anything like that. It's unique to you. So if anybody gets your stream key, then yeah, you have to change it. So I'm not worried about my stream key, because all you're going to do is draw attention to me right now anyway, which is okay.
Hey, Chris, Robert has a question.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so my Facebook page is a lot different than yours. If you want, I can show you. This is what my Facebook looks like. So how do I get to where you were at to get that same image?
So you don't have
to see the Facebook page again?
I could barely see it. It was like with the glare.
How about that?
What browser are you using?
Well, I'm using Chrome.
Okay. Yeah. So ever since they did the live integration, it's switched. Does anybody have that style Facebook? I think it's under the settings portion of it though, where it's go live. Jason?
Yeah, I do not have a gaming section, just so you know, but I have not looked in my settings. I'm set up the new way, so I see it the way that you see it. However,
Okay.
I don't have a gaming section.
You don't have a gaming section.
Right.
And
However,
I don't have a gaming Facebook, so.
Right. So, and I'm sure it's in the settings. I have not looked. I'm just giving you the heads up that if people don't already have that setting set, they may not see the gaming
Okay.
icon.
So I'm in settings now.
Yeah, I've been able to do it. My Facebook's not like yours either.
I was
but
just
I
gonna
have been
say,
able
if you
to
go-
live.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you click on the go live, you can click on use stream key under your post. So when you go to post right here where it says what's on your mind, and underneath it says live video, photo, and feeling and activity. Do you see that?
I'm going back to that page. Okay, so what's on your mind? Okay, there. I'm there.
Yeah, and you see where it says live video?
Okay. Yep, there it is.
And you'll click, when you click on live video,
Yes.
it should bring you to another page where it says going live on Facebook, use camera. You'll see it where it says use stream key. You see that?
Slow, sorry.
No, that's not a problem. Let me pull mine up so everybody can see what I'm doing really quick while we're walking through that.
Okay, it says welcome to live producer.
Right. Does it look like, does it look similar to this where it says get started, use stream key, use camera?
Yeah, stand by. Oh yeah, there we go. Use stream key, use camera, use paired encoder.
Right. So then you just use stream key and then you can grab the stream key from there. It'll auto generate you a stream key.
Okay.
So for those that don't have a gaming file, I don't have a gaming Facebook, so I don't know why it gave me a gaming section, to be honest. I've never done any live streaming to my personal Facebook page or a Facebook page that I have. So I don't know why I have a gaming section.
Okay. So this is what mine looks like. If you want to take a look.
Yes.
Do you
So
see that?
now, so now you'll have. So yeah, where you're at right now, exactly. You'll grab the stream key and you'll put it in OBS from there. So you should see a section that says use stream key.
Go live now. Schedule live video. Only me's live video title. See gaming.
If anybody in Facebook land has any questions, please put them in the comments. We have Scott monitoring. He'll be able to get those questions into us here in the Zoom room, and we'll be able to try to address some of those for you guys while these guys are looking at this issue. But I guess what we're getting, Chris, is some versions of Facebook may look a little bit different.
Yep.
Yeah. I know. I just did a major update on my Mac, and everything looks different on my Facebook because I was using a very old version of Safari.
And that's probably where the differ is going to come in. Is again, it's dependent on everybody's machine or everybody's equipment that they're using of where it's going to differ at.
Right.
So I'm sorry, you said use a stream key and then click it over to the
click on that. Yeah. And then you'll see live stream setup. It'll say live stream setup, and I'll have a server URL and a stream key.
Oh, there's a URL. Okay. Copy.
There you go. And so you have now the URL and you have the stream key underneath that. So what you would do is you would take that stream key, and that's where you would put it into OBS where it says stream key in OBS.
Stream key OBS.
Hopefully, people on Facebook land are following along and able to find what we're looking for. But this goes to show you should look for all these things before you plan to go live. Thank you. Look at these things before you plan to go live. Do a few tests. Get a couple of friends together. Maybe put together a private Facebook group that you can throw live video in and just play with these things ahead of time. We're kind of rolling and taking examples as we go. So
yeah, and I see here like one of the James in the comments just said Facebook is in the middle of updating. So I might have just got pushed an earlier update than other people have gotten. So like I said, mine's always had 5. I've always had a gaming section. Maybe because I research gaming stuff on Facebook. I don't know. But I've always had a gaming session. That's where my go live has always been.
Huh. So I've been copying the stream key.
Yep.
It doesn't seem to go anywhere. Do I drag and play? Is that what it is?
No, when you go into OBS, you're going to right click on where the stream key is. It automatically copies it to your kick. Yeah. Go ahead, Jason.
I pushed the wrong thing. I was just going to tell you that everything that I have looks identical to yours, less the little gaming icon. And that's the only difference. My stream key is there. All of my live streaming tools are there for me, readily available, and it looks identical. The only thing that I'm missing.
You know what I'm thinking now? Because I did have a Mixer account. That's probably why I have the gaming section, because Facebook partnered with Mixer. So that could be why I have a gaming section. Just thought of that. Go ahead, Fred.
Yeah, no, I don't believe that's what it is. I don't have a gaming section. I don't have none of that. I just opened up my Facebook and I have all that you just showed.
Okay,
in
so
my
it's just
thing.
different for everybody.
It's just an update, to be honest. Yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah, I think it's just the update. Who got it, who hasn't gotten it yet, is all it really is. And also, like Ed said, depends on the platform, the machine that you're using, the age of the machine, and what it can handle. Go ahead, Robert.
So do I have to download this OBS Studio in order to get
You
where
would
you're
need,
at?
yes, you would need OBS Studio in order to get where we're at right now. So yeah, the order of operations that we're going in is you're going to download OBS first before you even go look for your stream key or try to find your stream key anywhere. So this will be obviously saved to the Facebook, and I believe we're going to be putting together to post it to YouTube as well. So it'll always be out there for anybody to reference back to at any point. So anywhere you get lost, you can always watch again, pause again, and go, okay, I'm there, I found it. And it goes step by step. So that's why I said if I'm going too fast, just let me know if anybody in the panel here is trying to follow along.
Great. Yeah, let's maybe we can move on from here and see what the next step is going to be.
So the next step, obviously, after what I'm going to do, just so everybody knows, I'm going to go and locate stream keys, and then we'll talk about the little bit of the back end, because everywhere you put the stream key is the same, but not everywhere you find the stream key is the same. So what we'll do now is we'll go ahead and we'll locate where the stream key is on YouTube for those that are going to stream to YouTube. So again, differs might be, but I go into my YouTube like this, and if I log into my YouTube, I'm in my YouTube right here. So there's a few ways I can go to it. I can either go into it through the side here under settings, or I have to go into YouTube Studio for myself. So I go into YouTube Studio, and I already have it up over here, and this is what my YouTube Studio looks like. For me, I do have, again, an upgraded YouTube compared to some. Now you see where it says Stream Now Classic. When you click on that, it'll give you your live dashboard. That will give you your basic info for your stream. Encoder setup is where you are going to go on YouTube. Again, if you are streaming to YouTube, there are already ingest servers on OBS for most of the platforms you're going to go to. So again, you don't have to necessarily copy the server URL, but you will want to. I'm not going to reveal my stream key for YouTube for privacy reasons, but what you would do is you just highlight. You can reveal, or most times you can just highlight and copy, but you have to reveal it. I'm not going to reveal mine for privacy issues. You'll take that, copy it, and then again, we will go over into OBS, and you will change this to YouTube Gaming. As you can see, you have the primary ingest server and the backup ingest server. Always go to the primary first. Always. If for whatever reason the primary ingest server is not functioning for you, you're trying to connect and it keeps telling you connection failed, that's when you use the backup ingest server. But that is not a major deal. They have only 2 ingest servers. One's always running at some time. Right click, copy your stream key, and then you apply it. Once you apply it, that's when we'll go into, after we find the Twitch side and how to use Yellow Duck, we'll go into a couple more things with that after you apply it. So for Twitch, Twitch is all here for me because that's what I use. As you can see, it doesn't even show my stream key when I do Twitch because my stream key has been in forever. It just auto memorizes it on OBS. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and go into Twitch really quick. And again, I will not be showing my stream key for Twitch, but it will give you the general idea of where it is. So what you'll do is you will go into the creator dashboard on your Twitch settings once you log in. And then once you are here, you will go into stream tools. If you download and link your OBS, it will autofill those keys for anybody who is doing that. But if you go into preferences and channel right here, you will see the primary stream key show up. You don't have to reveal this one in order for it to be seen. You just hit copy. And then again, when you're in here, my account's already connected, so therefore it doesn't ask for my stream key. You apply it to where it needs to go. And again, you're good to go. So that is how you find your Twitch one. There is a couple different things in Twitch as well about storing your past broadcasts and stuff like that that some other platforms don't have. You want to check those settings and see which ones work best for you. Now that we're done with the Twitch side, we'll open up one more. And we use this for anybody who's going to be using to Instagram really quick. This will be the last one, and then I'll take questions on anything that we just discussed before we move into the OBS backside of anything. I just got to remember mine.
So in the chat on Facebook, we're seeing that Facebook gaming is slowly going to be rolling out to all users, but they are prioritizing Mixer accounts and followers. So that's why some of you might be seeing something different when we went through Facebook. Let's see, Scott, have you seen any other questions in the chat?
Yes, I have been waiting for him to give us the cue for questions. So
great. Chris, are you ready, or do you want to? Should we listen to a question?
Go ahead and ask some questions while I try to remember my password.
Great.
So, Chris, the question I have is, can you broadcast to multiple platforms from OBS at the same time?
Not from a single OBS source, no. You would have to have multiple computers with OBS or use a product like we discussed last week of Restream.io, which allows you to link multiple accounts to create one stream key to put into OBS. And that would go through a custom server. And that's why I'm kind of trying to show Yellow Duck to show how to do a custom server and how to link that up. Oh. This thing doesn't like me today.
I did see a question about the Zoom link. How do you get into the Zoom? That's a great question. We have a phone number that we'll post in the chat. You're going to send a text to that phone number if you're interested in getting into the Zoom room with your name, and we will get you the link to be able to be part of our panel about 24 to 48 hours before next week's episode, and we'll let you know the ground rules. Everybody's got to be on video all the time, and everybody's got to contribute. Those are some of the ground rules to being part of the panel. Chris, are you all set? Sorry.
So my password, I do not know it, and what we'll do is I can still show you how to do a custom ingest server on the side of OBS. So Yellow Duck is a program, if you could remember your Instagram password, for those who are lucky enough to do that. Old age is killing me here. You'll log into your Yellow Duck, and your Yellow Duck will give you a custom, what's called RTMPS server, and a stream key for you to log into OBS with. So when you're in OBS and you hit custom, you'll see server and then stream key. You have on Yellow Duck is one of the only ones that are like this. You have 3 minutes from the time you log in, and it gives you that stream key in order to put the server and the stream key in. And then you apply it, and you have to go live within 3 minutes of putting it in as well. So from the time Yellow Duck creates the stream key, from the time you go live has to be 3 minutes. So you have to be pretty much set up and ready to go when you're using Yellow Duck. That isn't to an Instagram. So.
And Chris, why do you have to use Yellow Duck for Instagram?
Because Instagram itself is not a live streaming platform from a computer. It is set up solely for mobile ingest. So what that means is you're already logging into their servers. They have access to your camera. They're using your camera and your phone and everything there as a basically a live platform. It's all built into their app. It's an app-based live stream. So that's why in order to use it that way, you must go into a Yellow Duck in order to live stream from a computer of some sorts to where you can put multiple video and audio sources into it to stream out.
Can you share the example of what we had to do that when we did Mook Boy? We had to go use Yellow Duck and why we did that?
Yeah, yes. And that's why I was trying to use it, as the fact of we did use it when we when the GDN had Mook Boy come in. He wanted to stream to his Instagram because his Instagram was 90,000 large. So when you have clients or people or anything that their Instagram account is that big, they might prefer to try to go live on their Instagram. So Yellow Duck becomes a great option for that.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay, so we're going to go out of screen share for a second. Any questions from chat or anybody on the panel that I can answer before we move into a couple of the back end things with the OBS that I can help with?
Jason, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, I have one you already answered. Yellow Duck basically emulates the phone. That answered it. And then Scott mentioned the fact that with Mook Boy, he wanted to go to multiple platforms. He had 40K on Facebook and 90K on Instagram. So it's good to be able to do that simultaneously so you can hit all your fan base. However, YouTube, when you were going to YouTube, are you able to monetize your live streams directly, or do you have to have a certain amount of number of followers or subscribers in order to monetize it, which knowing that allows us guys that are selling it to other clients to know, hey, you have X amount of followers. Not only can you stream your live concert there, but you can also monetize it as well.
Great point. Great question. Great thing. Just so for everybody kind of here, for the most part, has worked with us on the WJRR stream in Orlando at OPAV. That one for the Indie Bandits Day concert we just did, we had Super Dave, the host, reach out to Facebook and say, hey, release the reins. We were only streaming 720, 30 frames a second. There's no need. They had the followers. They had all of the back end to be able to go 1080p, 60 frames a second. So that's what we did. One of the guys from there reached out to Super Dave and said, hey, get this done, because why not put the best quality out that you can possibly put out? And it got done and it got taken care of. YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, all of these have their own guidelines for monetization on their account. YouTube is probably the hardest, in my opinion, because you have to have, I believe it's 2,000 followers, follow all their monetization policies, which means you can never have copyright stricken. Right. You got to follow the music you're putting in. You have to appropriate yourself properly as far as whether you're stream for adults or stream for kids. And if you stream an adult product and say, yes, you're good for kids, you won't have it. You have to have so many hours watched. YouTube is probably the hardest platform to get monetized on. Twitch monetization. Yeah. Twitch's monetization is 50 followers, 3 average viewers, and 12 hours streaming, which means that you can have people sub to your channel. You get paid for bits used on your channel. It's a penny per bit, and you get 50% of your sub to your channel. There's different things that they go through, as well as the Facebook gaming. Yeah, Facebook gaming has some regulations. They're readjusting theirs. They used to be pretty hectic as well. They used to be, I think it was 1,000 followers on your channel. I believe it was 1,000 followers on your channel, something like 50 average viewers. It was pretty hefty, but with the mixer move and everything like that, they've kind of adjusted their requirements. So I'm not 100% sure what those are just yet. But yes, if your client has the possibility or has the proper structure for their monetization, absolutely let them know, like we did with JRR, and said, hey, you have the ability to produce a better quality content. Go to Facebook, let them know what's up, and get it done.
Right. Thank you.
Patrick has a question. Patrick, you want to share your thoughts? I guess he don't.
No, I do. Quick question. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, Chris, thanks for doing this. And Scott, again, thanks for having me on. Chris, what is OBS used for if we can just stream directly to these platforms individually already if we can't stream to them all at once?
Great question. So the reason why you use OBS is the reason why OBS is there for you is because you have the ability to use multiple plugins from other sources in order to feed that stream. So yeah, you can go live straight from your computer. You don't have to use OBS. You don't have to use a stream key on Facebook, but you're taking the camera that you're using and whatever your PC is outputting in order to go there. So anything else that you're trying to do, it's not the video that all they're going to see is the camera. They're not going to see, you're not going to be able to share your screen to Facebook Live or anything like that. That's where the OBS comes in on the side of, for somebody like me, a gamer, where I can put my little camera in a corner and have my gameplay going in the background for people to watch. So that's what OBS does. Whereas the instance of, for us, that we've been using for the live streams is the fact that we have multiple cameras, multiple audio sources coming in to a server rack with Blackmagic and everything like that, and all the switcher protocols and everything, and we're bringing it to the computer in one pretty fancy place and sending that source out to the site in order for it to be seen.
I don't have any further questions on the chat.
Okay. So what we'll kind of do right now is we'll kind of go through the back end. Like I said, there's a couple of settings inside OBS that you're going to want to pay attention for when you are streaming out to platforms, depending on the, nice way to put it, depending on the computer or the source that you're streaming from. So, do you have a question? Oh, okay. So, generally speaking, your computer, for the most part, or any server that you're using, is going to ingest at 1080p or higher. There's very few computers out there right now that are outputting that. So, as you can see here, when we come into the video section under your settings of your stream, you'll see how mine is set right here, where the base canvas for me, what the base canvas means is what the image you're capturing is. My base canvas that I'm capturing is 1920 by 1080. Okay, it's great. That's what I want it to capture as. As you can see, is my output is only 720. Why is my output only 720? Knowing the platform that you're going to, this is a little bit of information that can set you apart for others depending on the rig that you're using. And what I mean by rig, computer, or whatever item you're using to stream from, that you need to know the platform you're going to. Like, for instance, like we talked about, Facebook. If you do not have the proper monetization or setup for those rules, it is going to be only 720p 30 frames a second. So if you do not have a computer that can handle the higher 1080p 60 frame a second, this is a great opportunity for you to be able to allow that computer to do that without hurting the computer. So basically, what do I mean by that? I have the ability to play 1080p 60 frames a second to Twitch, but I don't. Here's why. Most of my followers are on platform that does not always have the best internet connection, i.e. mobile. Mobile can do 1080. Some mobile can do 4K. But the fact is most data plans in most data areas are going to start clipping at 1080p 60 frames a second on a lot of things. So therefore, I downscale everything coming out from my computer to 720p. Yes, it is 60 frames a second. But my compression to those, and what I mean by compression is the descale from my computer to their server, is enough to where they'll still be able to catch everything that I'm doing and see everything I'm doing without missing a beat. So with that, it is pertinent, in my opinion, and a lot of others, is to know the platform you're going to. Facebook, until you have the ability to live stream at higher reses, you do want to make sure, I would not recommend trying to stream anything higher than 1280 by 720, unless you're using OBS to record for a client, because that'll free up resources for you to be able to output your stream.
Hey, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
James Bangs is contributing. He's sending me stuff through Discord that I'm trying to get onto the chat that kind of everything. So I'd like to draw everybody's attention to the chat. Sorry, I kind of goofed up some of the copy and paste from Discord, but I think if you just scroll down to last thing, it'll make a little bit better sense. And if you need any more clarification on this, guys, let me know. I'll get back to James. He's on Discord. Sorry, we're good.
Any questions on anything that I just showed you? That's a little bit of tidbit information for those who are streaming that might not have high-end quality computer to stream out from. Most of us here that are doing audio-visual and things like that, you're streaming from server racks that can handle multitudes more than what you're trying to output. But this is for the guy out there that's, you know what, I have a computer at home, I want to start gaming, and I want to start streaming my games. This could help him get there without being limited on his computer.
Hey, Bodhi, just real quick, how do I find that information on the streaming side for YouTube, Twitch, like all these platforms?
For monetization?
No, not the monetization, just for what you're saying about the canvas and the resolution size of that. How do I find information to know that what I'm streaming out to these platforms is what they are saying? Hey, if you do anything above this, we're just going to dumb you down. If you do anything below this, we're going to try to upgrade you.
So again, that would be, you can find that under their affiliate programming links. So like if you go to Twitch's affiliate program, it will tell you that they have the right to cut your stream degradation down. You can stream 1080p 60 frames a second from your computer, but they will only allow it to be 720 60 frame, and it goes based on partner availability. So if more partnered streamers, again, you have different levels on Twitch. You have partnered, affiliate, and then just a streamer. Just a streamer is somebody that's just starting out, or just regular streaming, like say for instance, a company puts up a Twitch feed. They technically cannot become an affiliate on Twitch because of legality issues. They're just a streamer, so their stream would always be regulated to 720. Now, when you become affiliate, yes, it does open the ability to where you could have a 1080p stream. But if there are more partnered streamers on, they get priority over that server for getting 1080p. That's why I'm saying if you're not that level, or you're not reaching that level, don't overstretch your resources if you don't have to. But every one of them can be found under the affiliate program.
Got it. Thank you.
I did see on the Facebook that somebody asked a question about the yellow ducky and it resetting after every use, it resets the stream key. So you have to redo one, because again, once you're not live, it automatically cuts the stream key off and you have to redo it.
Any other questions in the room or on Facebook? I see Omar's hand.
Yeah, sorry, I just had a more questions about the yellow duck. So how exactly, when you guys did your stream at OPV, did that work out for you? I mean, was it seamless? Did you guys have a little hiccups with it or anything as far as the streaming goes to the OBS? Was there any kind of issue with the amount of followers you had versus what you were doing it, or is that just irrelevant to anything?
Well, number analytics are irrelevant to anything you do. I'm going to tell you that right now. That's just my personal opinion. Again, I'm coming from a different world. So no, he had 90,000 followers, and I think he averaged 140 to 150 on his Instagram. The difference between it is the way we were streaming it from, we had to tape the cameras off to say, hey, you can only stay in this box, because again, that's why you have to use one of these encoders as well, is because it only does portrait mode. So other than that, we had no issues. We didn't have any hiccups, any drop framing, any buffering issues or loading issues or anything like that. It was just, here's the server, guys, you have to stay within this range in order for everything to be seen, or you're going to go out, or you're not going to see anything.
Right. So we're saying Stream Deck was a reliable source. It did well what it was doing. You guys had no problems on your side. The only thing to be cautious is if using Stream Deck, not because of, I'm sorry, not Stream Deck, using Yellow Duck, not because of Yellow Duck's limitations, but because of what Instagram wants you to do.
Correct.
You guys have to change up your shots to fit a certain, to fit portrait mode or a certain way to fit. That was, I guess, discussed ahead of time, correct?
Yeah, that was discussed. That was discussed ahead of time. That we'll do the best we can to make it look as good as we possibly could for you. But because of the limitations that Instagram does have, we can only work with inside those boundaries. So we could put out again. This is where knowing your platform comes to. Instagram doesn't do 1080p. It only does 720p, 30 frames a second. So on something like that, why waste the resource trying to stream 1080 60 to it when it's not going to do you any good? You're just wasting resources on the computer. So therefore you would, in that instance, when you loaded it up and you did the back end video structure of what you're outputting to, you would dumb it down. Go ahead, Jason.
And the good thing is most artists understand that. So when you explain that to them and they're going to multiple platforms, they're all for it. And they understand if they go off a frame, they're cool with it. And, just the shameless plug, we hit what you were saying, the 100 and something continuous, but by the following morning, we were at 4,000 plus views.
Exactly.
So OPAV and the GDN and AV Educate and the whole team, they did their thing.
I think Scott's
Omar,
trying
go
to
ahead.
talk.
Yeah, sorry guys. Go ahead, Omar. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this is just real quick to Jason. Hey, Jason, was there a way for you guys on his Instagram side to promote that stream when it went live, or does Instagram just say, hey, they're going live now, and whoever saw it, saw it?
Okay, so what generally, no. Yes and no. If we have a week or so, this happened in 2 days, we put that show together. However, if we have the time, then we would do normal promotions. We would made posts back to back throughout the week. He would go live on other days and say, hey, I'm going to go live on this night at this time. And then 30 or 40 minutes before he goes live, he'd go live, go to his social media and let people know he's going to be live and interact and engage with people so they already know that it's going to happen. So it's a yes and a no. No, he can't physically go on there and say, hey, I'm going to be live in 30 minutes and set it. And then when it goes live, it's going live from that source. But yes, there are ways, and he did promote prior to actually going live all the way up into, I think, 10 minutes prior. He went and let everybody know we're about to go live.
So Jason, while you're talking about this, I know our subject is streaming, but just so everybody understands the value that we're delivering as streamers, can you explain remember we talked about the band Brothers Within and how that at their max venue, they would see pre-COVID 100 people. Tell them what happened by the third day.
So real quick, and I'll do it really quick. The value that we're giving to some of these artists that play normal gigs in bars and small nightclubs and stuff like that. A lot of the rappers are on a different scale. Moot Boy, he sells shows out. So we're talking about 1,000, sometimes more people in a room at a time. But a lot of the rock bands and reggae bands, they might only have 100 to 150 people in a solid room at a time. Within 24 hours of that stream going, they had almost 5,000 viewers of that stream. And just on a larger scale, the other night for July 4th, when we pushed start that stream, and then 5.5 hours later after the fireworks, we pushed stop, there were 29,000 people who had viewed in 5.5 hours.
29.6 to be exact.
Exactly. And just, you can't sell that. And I'm not, if any of my friends in television or sales and radio or listen or see this, I apologize. But the truth is, you can't sell that. Nobody's going to see your commercial that many times that fast in your market. Nobody is going to hear it on the station that it's just a fact. And they did that, and the value that we have there that we're giving to some of these artists in a time where they cannot perform at all, they can't gig, if it's insane. I mean, it's insane. And to have some artists tell me, what are you going to pay me? No, you should be paying us thousands and thousands of dollars to do this. However, we understand that you need a platform. We need to do what we need to do. Let's make it happen.
Thank you, Jason. And just wanted to give you guys some validity behind all the time and effort that you're here trying to learn, that there's definitely huge potential in this side of the business, and very appreciative for Omar and Ed and Chris, who are taking their times to donate their time freely to help educate all of us, because this truly can help us make money moving in the future. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate that.
Real quick, Ed. I'm sorry, Ed. Scott, we have anything on the Facebook side for Q&As?
I'm not on the Facebook side. That's an Ed deal. I've got the chat side on Zoom, and I have nothing.
I'll check back and I'll report to you guys in just a sec.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead. I have it up and I can see a few of them there. So it's kind of answered, and it's somewhat correct, and it's fine. Zach asked, are there any platforms that are able to do dynamic resolution changes for viewers? Is it always better to lower your output to cater to your viewers, depending on the platform and what your partnership level is with that platform? Again, as a Twitch affiliate, only if your concurrent viewership is super high and stays super high are they going to give you the ability to change 1080p, 720p, 480, 360, and so on and so forth, until you're an actual partner with that platform. Same thing with YouTube. If you're live on YouTube, you will not be able to scale that unless your concurrent viewership is high. And when I mean high, I'm not just talking 100, 150 people. I'm talking 1,000, 1,200, 1,500 people on Twitch, and somewhere around the same realm on YouTube. YouTube's kind of like 2,200, 2,500 in order to get that escalating resolution. So the reason why I say downscale to your audience, this is all dependent on what you're using to produce the content. Obviously, if you're in the studio like we're using in the studio, you have the equipment to do 1080p. It's not going to affect the output to a computer user. It's going to affect the output to a mobile user. So it's more or less knowing your audience and what your audience is going to be viewing you on. So say for Facebook, again, yes, it can be seen on a computer and it can be 1080p, but how many people use Facebook on their phone? You're going to be live on Facebook. You're going to be having people look at it through their phone. Not everybody's going to be able to consistently watch 1080p 60 frames a second of a stream over data. Now, if they're connected to their home internet, yes, absolutely. Depending on the level of their home internet, and mostly everybody here has got enough internet in order to run 1080p. I don't know too many people that are running less than 5 megabits of internet half the time. But that is a cause for concern when it comes to that. So, and then I see again where they're talking about, concurrent viewership and things like that. Correct. But most platforms will not give you the sliding scale unless you are partnered. Twitch, YouTube is one of them. You are capped at 720p 60 frames a second until you are a partnered streamer with YouTube. They will not give you an escalating scale unless you breach, I think it's 5,000 concurrent viewers over that time. The other one tidbit of information I will give you for anybody when you are using OBS to help with CPU usage, always run OBS as an administrator. Always run OBS as an administrator. Always run OBS as an administrator. Why do I repeat that? Because for the PC, it tells that program the resources need to be here. Whereas if you have another resource playing in the background, Spotify, anything running in the background, it's going to slide scale shift what your CPU usage is going to and what your memory usage is going to. When you set it as an administrator, it's going to have priority all over those other programs.
Can you demonstrate that, Chris?
Absolutely. Give me 1 second. So for me, it's as simple as right here is my OBS on my computer. I have it right here on my toolbar on my computer. But even if I didn't have my toolbar, you can go into the settings of your computer, go OBS, right click, and you'll see run as administrator. Don't hold me to this. I don't know how it works. I'm pretty sure on Mac, you are the root authorized user. So mostly everything you run on Mac, you're already running as an authorized user. Am I right or am I wrong?
I think that was a yes, you were right from Ori.
Okay, yeah. So that's that's the one thing about Mac is you are always the root user. You are the admin of that computer. So anything you run is already in admin mode. or already running as an administrator. This is for PC only. When you're running PC, always run it as an administrator. It will dox your computer, say yes, allow this device to take control. It will open up. Again, the difference in that is you'll see your CPU usage drop drastically over the period of your stream and things like that. So, like for instance, if I don't open OBS as administrator, not that it really affects me, but my CPU runs at 3.7% when OBS is running, not as an administrator. When it's running as an administrator, my CPU usage is only 1.2% at high. So it affects the usage of your computer.
Go ahead, Omar.
So just real quick, now that I'm looking at your screen while it's up here real quick, you know, we're about to get to that hour mark real quick. I see you also have StreamLabs right above that. Is there is there a big difference between the two programs, between OBS and StreamLabs? I know they're both kind of an OBS thing, but
they're pretty much identical as far as settings in the most part. That's not my OBS actually. My StreamLabs is up here. That was my chat bot. So let me go ahead and share that.
And is this something you can get from the OBS platform, or is this
this is a completely different separate download. You have to go to streamlabs.com in order to download this. But I will go into the settings and kind of show you the settings of the OBS. You guys can see that, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So just making sure it's showing for you guys. It's pretty much the same. You have your stream here. See, streaming to a custom. And again, I'm Twitch. I use when I was on OBS on StreamLabs, I had to use a custom server just because I would get drop frames if I used a generic server from Twitch. On OBS, I don't have that problem. So again, different platforms are different things, but it's all pretty much the same as far as your output, your audio, your video output. As you can see, again, base canvas, output scale, 60 frames a second. I had it all set up the same. I just recently made the switch from StreamLabs OBS to OBS. The reason why I hadn't done it before, I was too lazy. I'm not even going to sit here and try to lie. I had already set up a year ago. The one thing I love about OBS or StreamLabs OBS over OBS is the fact that I log into StreamLabs OBS. All my shit's there, stuff's there, excuse me. If I go somewhere else and I say I go to Omar's house and I want to stream from Omar's computer, I can download StreamLabs, I can log in, and all my stuff is there. I don't have to mess with anything. All I have to do is change where my sound and my audio is coming from in my StreamLab in order to get going. Whereas with OBS, I have to download it on another computer. I have to have a thumb drive with all my templates in it for all my scenes, all my overlays and everything, reset it back up, and then go from there. That's why I use StreamLabs now that I don't use I'm using OBS more. I rather use OBS because it's a smoother operation. It's a lot. I like the fluidity of it a lot better and the little things that you can do.
So Chris, on Facebook, we had the question, what's the downside to streaming at the highest possible bit rate that you can, other than delay?
Oversaturating your bit rate can cause not only delay, can cause chops, frame drops. Yeah, exactly. I see somebody just commented on it in the Facebook, and I was just get ready to go there. High bit rate can make your stream very choppy and unwatchable because you're going to be dropping a ton of frames. So here's the thing: if you stretch your bit rate really high, so say you put your bit rate at 9,000 kilobits, you're not anywhere close to 9,000 kilobits. You're only pushing 3,000 kilobits of internet. You're going to chop constantly. And what that means is every time you do that, you're going to drop a frame per second. And you can drop anywhere between 200 to 10,000 frames in a second. You drop more than anything more than 2,000 frames a second, it drops a frame out of that 60 FPS. So anything more than 10,000 frames per second is dropping a FPS off your 60 frames a second. I've streamed sometimes and actually dropped, again, this was before I had bit rate set too high and things like that. I dropped almost 72,000 frames a second. So I dropped 7 FPS off of my 30 frames a second when I was streaming at 30 FPS. What do you think that did? it paused, it froze, it buffered my stream, and it actually doxed me to where people had to reload my stream page in order for it to get in. That's why you don't want to run it as max as you can run it. I always recommend starting a little lower and working your way up. The only thing the lower is going to do is the delay will be increased the lower it is. Sorry for the noise in the background, guys. But the lower your bit rate is, the more the delay it's going to increase. Go ahead, O.
Is there a range you recommend starting with?
That is all dependent on your internet. That is all dependent on your internet speed. So anywhere, if your internet's anywhere between 100 to 300 megabits, I would say you're comfortable with running about 2,500 to 3,000 kilobits.
I saw Omar's hand.
What? Yeah. Is there a formula or anything like that we can learn this if we don't know this information already, or like a channel that says, hey, if you want to do XYZ, you should do this bit rate? And then my second thing is I would love to hear from Ori as well. He's shaking his head vigorously. He's had some experience with that.
Go ahead, Ori, you're on the air.
I couldn't. I lost all of what Omar said.
He said he saw your head shaking vigorously, so he wanted your input on what you were thinking.
No, sorry. That was for my wife.
Well, hey, you guys.
So Ori was doing this like when he was talking about the bit rates, and I was like, oh man, he must have an experience. He knows like, yeah, if you do this, this would happen to me. But it was for your wife, never mind. So then back to my first question then, Chris, is there a way to, if you're not an IT guy or a streamer, to know that information about between bit rate and resolution, and what is like the best, I guess, bit rate for myself to OBS, because I have more customization in OBS for that than I would with StreamLabs or something else, right?
You have, in any streaming platform that you use, you have that ability.
So how do I figure out what the best setting is for what I'm trying to do?
That is going to be again, that's based on your internet speed that you have, the up to down. There's not really a calculation. It's crap. There is an internet source, and I can't even think. I know it's like in the back tip of my tongue, and I can't even think about it. But there is a website that breaks down your megabit rating to bit rate rating and what it is. And I think it's like every meg that you have is 100,000th of a kilobit. So that's where the numbers come from. If you have 300 megs, that's 3,000 kilobits of speed. So there is a math ratio for it. I just don't know it off the top of my head. But I can find that information. I can post it in AV Educate later.
Yeah, James in our chat on Facebook posted a couple numbers that people can look at. Regular HD with high frame rate, so 720p, 60 FPS. Bitrate should be 3,500 to 5,000 kbps.
Yeah, those are all the bit rates that you want them to be at, but finding out what bit rate's good for you is based on your internet speed as well. So that's where the breakdown, I think that's where Omar's question was leading to. What's the breakdown of your internet to kilobits that you should be using for a proper stream, your stream to stay consistent instead of dropping? But yeah, that is 100% right. What he posted in the Facebook feed, which is if you're doing 720/60 is 3,500 to 5,000, 720/30 is 2,500 to 4, and then full HD at 30 frames anywhere between 35 to 5,000. Those are the most recommended settings out there. I do 6,000 kilobits. That's just so that way I'm uncompressed and I don't ever run anything under 6,000 kilobits for myself, but I'm also running gigabit internet.
And guys, just so you know, in the Facebook, or excuse me, in our Zoom chat, I posted that same information from James, so you can pick it up there.
Great, Chris. If you're good, let's. Why don't we move on? We're already at 8:08 by my watch, so let's see what else you got.
And for me, that's basically everything with OBS that I can give you any tips on. That's the startup of how you get your OBS running to stream to those venues and platforms that you're going to look for. So if anybody has any further questions or anything that they want to ask, I mean, by all means, this is the time to do it.
Adrian has a question.
Hey, no, I just wanted to say great information so far. Also, I just wanted to add a couple things because I do also have some experience with OBS. You can use OBS for a lot of really cool stuff. Like I can actually show you the templates that I've done just so you guys can get an idea. Like my wife, she does real estate and she does her videos. I'm opening my OBS now and she does videos, right? So she wants to post videos of her like talking about different concepts for clients and showing them different like locations, like houses, for example. So I came up with a template where she has her face, like her camera will be on one part, and then she will have like a PowerPoint presentation right next to that. But then there will be also like a background with her logo and just like her name and her information so that people can see that in the meantime. It looks more professional, and that's something that OBS is great for. And then also there's an app that I downloaded that's from OBS. It's for the iPhone, and it actually allows you to use the iPhone as an OBS camera. So when you're on OBS, you can just select that as a camera, and then you can have the iPhone separate from the computer and just use it as a camera. You can place it in different angles, you can move it around. It does have to be connected to USB, and the app does have a price. I believe it was like 10 or 15 or $20. I can't remember. But for somebody that's going to do this professionally, I think it's worth it that you can at least have that flexibility of possibly using the iPhone camera as just like an OBS camera off to the side. I'm just trying to
What was
pull up
that
the
app?
file.
What was that
It's called
app you were-
OBS Camera, and it's on the App Store.
Yeah. I use it a lot. It works very well.
Yeah. So it's just a couple of things that I wanted to add to what you guys were going over, which is good. I'm trying
That's
to
great,
open
thanks.
these templates, but they're not.
Looks like Oria has his hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to what Adrian said. You can also use any NDI camera apps. OBS does NDI natively. So there's NDI Cam, NDI HX Cam. There are a number of them, and the prices vary on those too.
So,
Thanks.
Chris, one of the questions came up earlier is when you talked about running as an administrator, definitely on the Windows side, that made perfect sense. And then the take was on the Mac where you're automatically administrator. Would it be a best practice to try to get out of all the residual programs that you're running, even though you are considered a administrator Mac, or does it really matter at that point?
At that point, it doesn't really matter because Mac, you are the root user on all programs. What I mean by root user is you are the administrator. So anything you open, it is bringing it to the forefront. It's so basically the way Mac works, you got 10 things open, right? But whatever the reason why Macs run with so little and are so efficient is because of that root user interface. So there's a million things open, but the thing that's open in front of you is the only thing using resources. So that's why it's not going to make a difference if you shut everything down. Now, obviously, if there's something you don't need up and running at the time, go ahead and shut it down. But as far as with Mac, like I said, you are the root user. So whatever is up and running is using the computer's resources over everything else.
Great. Thank you.
Great. Any other questions on what Chris has presented today with OBS and or maybe if not, maybe Chris, you can just kind of summarize the steps that we went through with finding stream keys and whatnot.
Yeah. So what we did is we went into our Facebook settings, our Go Live Facebook settings, basically, of course, after downloading OBS. Go into your Go Live and finding your stream key and how to putting your stream key in from your Facebook, your Twitch feed, and your YouTube. Every one of them is a little bit different, but they're all in the settings. The difference between YouTube is the studio setting for YouTube. You have to find it in the classic studio setting of YouTube in order to find your stream key. Once you find your stream key and you plug it in and you apply it, combining words already. It's not even 9 o'clock at night. Anyway, most all servers on OBS are going to automatically put it into the RTMPS that it needs to be in, unless you want it in a custom one. All that does, and I'll touch on that a little bit here, is the custom server directly links it to the server closest to you, whereas the automatic server does the same thing. Not really much of a difference. But that is what we kind of talked about tonight and kind of went over the back end things of, hey, this is what's recommended when you're streaming to these platforms and what audio settings or not audio, but video settings you should recommended.
So we had a question on the Facebook. What is NDI? Does somebody want to tackle that? I know Omar or Ori knows a little bit about NDI.
Yeah, sure. NDI, it's an open source protocol that you can use to send video over IP with pretty low latencies. So you can, I think you can send something like 6 1080 streams simultaneously from the same machine over a gigabit network.
That sounds about right from what I remember. I happen to know John Luca, who asked that question. He's an audio guy. So
network device interface is exactly what it is. So what you're doing is you're sending a signal over the network protocol and allowing them to connect to any open source that's connected to the same network.
Today I heard somebody describe NDI in an audio term as like Dante for video. So if for any of you audio guys, it's like Dante, but on the video side, and it also carries audio. So NDI can work wirelessly too. I've done a couple gigs where we had NDI devices on wireless networks, so those were fun. Especially after I ran a ton of fiber, and then they show up with some TriCasters, and they're like, "Oh no, we're just gonna do them all wireless." I'm like, "Okay."
Sure,
well,
I
the
just ran a
fiber
mile of
backup
fiber.
line is there. Yeah, exactly. So great. Anybody else have anything? Omar, I see your hand.
Omar?
I was just going to jump in and say I can concur with what Ed just said. I've done projection mapping on a bridge outdoors with NDI, and we wirelessly transmitted from one side of Breslin to another side of the river to get a signal out through using NDI wirelessly.
I don't know if we've heard from Robert M today at all. Robert, what's going on? Do you got anything you want to chime in
I
on?
got nothing. I'm just enjoying the chat. There are two forms of NDI, though. Isn't there more of a robust one versus a slower one? One that has a little more latency? You guys familiar with that?
Ori, can you speak to that at all?
I've actually just been touching into that myself recently. I believe it's NDI HX.
Right. Yes. And now I totally understand what you're talking about. Yes.
Yeah. I believe that is the newer, faster standard.
I'm not sure. I had a couple bird dogs at one time, and those were like, I guess, full HDI, and then I guess the HX? I think it was a little more compressed. It added a little more latency. I could be mistaken, but I think there's two versions, and one of them's quite a bit lower latency than the other.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I've actually got the page up in another window right now. I'm trying to see if I can get the answer.
Omar? Omar, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. So just while we have Bodhi on here and we still have some time left, is there any way we can go back to the OBS and go into the settings section and kind of just dive a little bit more into each one of those sections on the settings side? Kind of do a little more Q&A on that side. There was a question someone had about diving more into the settings. He didn't really specify what exactly it was, so I'm wondering if we just do a blanket kind of review of that.
So sure, yeah, I can kind of go through them. Most of these settings are going to be individualized for you yourself. So as you can see, I already have my settings open up here.
So just if you can just walk me through, start from the top to bottom and kind of like general output, how you use that, what you use for your settings for your particular setup. Correct me if I'm wrong, I believe at your home you have fiber internet, correct?
I have gigabit, yeah.
Right. So your set is way better than mine right here.
So I have your first setting is general. I have it obviously dark themed. If you're not using dark theme, you're a monster. Period. End of story. No, but like there's
what's the benefits? What's the benefits between that and the other one?
In your eyes, get out of here. You don't want to be blinding yourself when you open something up. Come on now. All this in here is just for user interface. So like the output tells you, shows confirmation dialog when you go live. Like you can have things pop up to stop you to say basically, hey, are you sure you want to do this? I took all that off. As you can see, I have nothing checked here. So I have nothing open for that. Source alignment. This helps with keeping. Go ahead.
Sorry. So on that output side, and just doing a comparison now that we kind of saw it real quick. Does StreamLabs have a lot of these settings for you that you can turn on and off, or are these kind of like generically, like they're set for what they want you to see?
Mostly everything from StreamLabs.
And this is more like
mostly all the settings from StreamLabs and OBS are going to be identical. Literally, StreamLabs just stole OBS's processes and made it a prettier package, is what they did. And they pretty much gave it its own theme store. So you have your own overlays and things like that are already there that you can just say, hey, I want this. And it puts it in for you. You don't have to do any of that. So that's what I meant by I was being lazy and didn't want to use OBS over StreamLabs, is just because of that.
Got you.
Yeah, so if you're using StreamLabs or OBS, most of these are going to be identical. A lot of the things in here are going to be identical. So I don't have any of the outputs up. I don't need it. This is just, like I said, it shows confirmation when you're stopping the recording. You can also tell it to automatically start recording upon streaming. So there is a setting in there just for anybody who uses OBS and their client wants a copy of the stream. If you have this checked, the moment you hit start streaming, it'll start recording immediately. And there is a setting in here to automatically start replay buffer when streaming as well. What that means is if for whatever reason you get a chop, it'll clear the chop up on the replay. It'll get rid of it on the replay. So there's a few little things in there. I don't use any of that because I don't save any of my recordings. All my recordings are saved to the platform that I stream to. Source alignment. This is just so that way it automatically, this will automatically be enabled. I don't recommend taking it off. This is source alignment snapping. This allows everything to stay within parameters. And then if it gets out of parameters, that's where the snap source comes in. Is for whatever reason, say you got a drifting image, it'll snap it back in place and keep it there for you. System tray is just enable or disable. Preview, overflow, those things I really don't dive into those. Now there is a studio mode where you can enable and disable things for when you're in studio mode. I know Ori, I think, uses studio mode, right? Ori, you've used studio mode before a lot.
I wouldn't say a lot, but yes, I have.
Yeah, so this is what you would be more interested in under the studio mode portion of this. This allows you to transition the scenes and everything. You can either activate it or deactivate it. So basically, when you're in your studio mode, you can kind of play with all the features instead of being limited to the features that are only available in studio mode. This kind of opens them up for you. And then the multi-view, as we talked about last week, where you can kind of set it up as you guys see the switcher screens. You can change your layout of that. Horizontal top 8, bottom 8, vertical. You can change all the orientation, and that's what that's for. So this is just the general section. You have the stream section, which again is where you put your stream key in. Go ahead, Omar.
Sorry about that. Can you go back to general quick and go to that multi-viewer? I just want to make sure that the viewers are aware. So last week we showed this real quickly. If you guys didn't know, can you just on studio mode turn on the transition to screen when double clicked function? It's in studio mode. It's the top button over here. Oh, right there. Yep, and then just hit apply. Okay, and then can you just go to that multi-viewer and then show them what we're talking about real quick? So last week we had Gibson kind of show this, and I was completely taken by it.
I have to get to it. Hold on one second. This is all the scenes that are in my OBS. So what it's done is it's taking all my scenes in OBS and throwing them into a multi-view. So clicking once puts it in preview, double clicking puts it in the program. That's what the transition to double clicking and does for there. Now, if not, you would have to right click and you would have to, when you clicked on it, you would have to like keep clicking until it finally went into the program. A little clunky. So if you're going to use the multi-view, I definitely recommend transition on double click because it is clunky if you don't use it that way. But yeah, clicking
This
once.
is my favorite part, guys.
If you click it once, it puts it to preview, double click it, puts it to the program and automatically puts the next scene, the scene prior in the preview. So as soon as you click out of that, it'll put the prior scene in there. So
Thank you for that. Again, guys, this is, as a video engineer, this is my favorite thing about OBS that I'm a fanatic about. So sorry, I just wanted to show everybody else.
you're good. So again, going back, like I said, this is stream where the stream key goes. Your output, this has to do with your video bitrate. Again, I have to change that back now that I went through everything. So we'll go ahead and I'll up my bitrate back up. But I keep, like I said, I run my bitrate around 6,000. I use NVEC encoding. That's difference here is you have software and NVEC. That is a little bit of a deeper dive. It takes a little bit longer to explain. I can do a whole hour class on just the encoders that you can use for streaming. Go ahead, Ori.
Can you also do QSV if you had an Intel processor? I assume you're running an AMD.
Can you also did that? This has no bearing on the fact that I'm running AMD right now. The X264 encoding just has to do with the using my CPU as the processor. Now,
I'm sorry. I was just asking if you had an Intel processor, could you also do it as a quick sync?
you can. I don't recommend it.
Okay.
That's just, I don't recommend it because of the fact that there's still some tweaks that need to be worked out on the quick sync side. Okay, so I'll kind of dive in a little bit just so I can explain that because it makes me sound like an AMD snob when I tell you no, it doesn't work that way. Okay, NVEC encoding, for people that don't know, is a RTX or GTX graphics card thing. So that has to do with a graphics card in your computer. They have their own processing chip on it that can encode the stream for you right off of the GPU. What he's talking about is Intel's version of that on their processors. They're trying to copy, in a sense, the NVIDIA programming for the specialized individual processor that can control your stream because that's where everything's coming to. I just don't recommend it right now. It's not perfect. So I see a lot more people having issues with it. It freezing, lagging, and actually burning their CPUs up because it's overcharging the CPU, causing extreme heat to the CPU and melting the cores in very common cases. Because when you're using that, you are increasing the heat that's being put out by that CPU, and it's not properly cooled to begin with. It will melt the CPU.
Omar, you have a question?
I just want to throw out there. So is MSI a good processor to have?
MSI is not the processor.
I mean, I'm sorry, the chip, the CPU.
The CPU is not created by MSI. You have Intel and AMD as your processors. Are you talking about motherboard?
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm talking. Yes.
There's so many different motherboards. It's all preference based. As long as you stay with, I'm going to say Asus, MSI, or even Gigabit. Gigabit's not a bad motherboard. They've actually brought themselves out of some horrible times where their motherboards were bad. But I would say Gigabit, MSI, and Asus are probably going to be your top 3 motherboards you're going to use right now. From there, I would probably say, if you're looking to go on a cheap, ASRock is not a bad one either. But they're hit or miss. They're a little cheaper, but they are hit or miss. I know many people that got $50 gaming Ace Rock motherboards and they work flawlessly, never had an issue. And I have some people that they're like, man, I should just shoot the thing and throw it away. So it differs. So my thing is I kind of try to stay, when it comes to my motherboard, I recommend Asus. That's just me. I'm not sponsored by them, nor an affiliate with them in any way, shape, or form. I just have never had issues with their products. I have 3 Asus monitors. I have an Asus TUF X470 gaming motherboard. I have Asus graphics card. I just never have had an issue with them, so I prefer Asus. And their customer service is excellent as well. So if you ever have an issue, they're excellent. So,
Chris, question for you.
Yep.
So bringing it down to the beginner level, you know, if I roll into a venue and someone asks me to stream, what do I need to do to determine what my internet speed is? And then how do I compare that to what bit rate I should use to try to get the optimal stream? You know, I understand that not everybody's going to be able to get, for example, the 6,000 bit rate for Twitch. Not everybody's going to be able to receive that. Can you kind of walk us through that process? If I was to walk into a venue sight unseen, how would I determine what bit rate to run at?
Absolutely. So what you would want to do, obviously, is when you first go into that venue, you want to make sure that you run a speed test. There's free speed tests out there. You can go speedtest.net. I believe speedtest.net is now with Okula anyway, so it's automatically going to bring you to the Okula website to do that. Find out what I recommend running 3 speed tests and going from there. 3 speed tests, and take the middle run one. Again, median. Max median. So you're going to run 3, take whichever one comes out to be the middle, and go off of that. Then that's where going to, like I said, there is a website that you can go to that tells you what the kilobit rate, recommended kilobit rate is for that internet speed, to find out what that is going to do.
Thanks, Chris. Now, just to clarify, is that 3 speed tests from one particular platform or from 3 different platforms?
From the same platform. That's from whatever platform you use. There's numerous ones that you can use. Speedtest.net is a free one. It's generally everywhere. I don't know too many that don't have access to that to be used. So,
no, you know, I've had the opportunity to do that myself, and I noticed that you can pick server locations on where to ping from. How much of a difference does that make, or does it really?
let it grab the recommended one, because when you go live or when you are streaming out, most likely you are grabbing that closest one as well. So it's bouncing off the closest server to you. And when you're grabbing that signal coming in, and then when you're outputting that signal out, you're going to be using that server consistently to run the stream. So you want that server to be able to grab what you need. Now, if you go in and you get a speed test and you notice that the server's saying it's somewhere out of Texas, and you look and there's one in Miami, test your frequency to the one in Miami. Because if it's running better for the one in Miami, then go ahead and use the one in Miami. But 9 times out of 10, I will tell you the recommended server is going to be the best server for you.
Great, thank you. And James Bangs contributed the link to where you can match up your bit rates with the speed that you find out. So we're going to leave that chat open, guys, if you want to download that. I believe, Omar, is that enabled, or Ed, is that enabled? They can save the chat.
I'll make sure that it is, and if not, I'll save it. And anybody who needs it, if they can't save it themselves, they can get it from me.
So I'll go back into the screen share real quick.
Actually, you know what? We had one quick question.
Go ahead.
So hold on, my little guy is interrupting my question. So we'll get back to it. Go ahead, Chris.
All right. I'll go back into this. Go ahead and power through the rest of the settings here. So the audio settings, I'm going to be honest, I don't mess with any of these. I don't mess with them because I have my own mixer that does it for me. So I don't mess with any of the settings that are in the backside of OBS. Now, most people won't, because again, in the line of industry that you're going to be using, you're going to be outputting the sound from mixers into the computer. So it's going to you're automatically getting that compressed from the mixer itself into the computer. You don't need this to do any of it. Now, there are things in here. You could have hotkeys in order to disable and enable audios in your channel as well. So say, for instance, like for me, I have, let's see if I can slide this over. So as you can see, I have chat and music here as audio channels. And then you could see chat, desktop, mic, music, It won't let me scroll down while I have the settings open. But you can enable hotkeys, say, even though I can just click the mic and shut it down. But just say, for instance, I'm in the middle of a game and I'm playing with somebody in my chat, in my Discord and they're talking to me and they become obnoxious and start spewing a bunch of BS, basically. I can create a hotkey to where I can just shut it off. I don't have to go anywhere. I can just hit a hotkey, which is a combination of buttons that I mapped out on my keyboard to shut it down. Now, obviously, if you're using Stream Decks and other things, you can also link one of those to mute those on your Stream Deck as well. So just the audio, I don't mess with the audio. I let it default set for everything. Again, I use a mixer, so everybody's situation might be different. Most of the time, you really don't want to mess with it anyway because you're adjusting the sound settings in the background of your computer. The video we went over, this is about what your intake, your base canvas is what you're actually seeing, what's actually being sent to the stream, and then your output is what's being sent out live. So base canvas is what's being captured. The output is what's being sent out, what you want sent out. And then your downscale filters, there are different ones. I don't mess with them. It's actually locked, but because I'm outputting video currently, it won't let me even go into it. But this is where you can set your FPS values. So you can adjust them 30, 60, 45. You can even you can even go as far down as making it 48 frames a second if you wanted. You can do it custom to whatever you're doing. So say, for instance, you got a pesky camera that only wants to do 32 frames a second and it won't put out anymore. You can adjust that to 32 frames a second. Again, hotkeys. You can go in here and drive yourself crazy. Be right back screen, hide it, bring it up, start stream, stop screen, start recording, stop recording, resume recording, switch scene. You could literally do all this, but who has the time to do that? You can just get yourself an Elgato Stream Deck and do it from there. To be honest and fair. If you can find one right now, because still to this day, they're sold out. So if anybody's got one that they want to help a brother out with, I mean, just let me know. I need one. I'm using the app right now. It's not as smooth as I'd like it to be. No, I'm joking. And then the advanced, obviously, we go into the advanced. You have, this is where most of your recording stuff, like where to save the file to. If you want a stream delay, I don't use a stream delay, but I always recommend a stream delay so that way you can catch on audio hiccups and fix them quickly without any bearing on your stream. This is the automatically reconnect. So say, for instance, for a reason you disconnect, it automatically tries it to reconnect for a restart delay. Again, network IPing, you can bind it to a certain IP. So say, for instance, you're running wireless, you have 10 different wirelesses, even though, again, like we talked about, I don't recommend wireless for streaming, but say it's your only choice. You have 10 wireless channels in your studio. This is the strongest Wi-Fi signal that you can grab onto. You can bind this to that network to where it only goes from there. So, and then again, sources, your hotkeys, your video of what it's putting out, and then just general information.
Okay, so Chris, sorry, I can get back to that question. It's not specifically OBS, but Justin is asking, what do I do when my live stream is synced, but after the live stream, my playback is off by a second? And I asked for some clarification if he meant the audio is out of sync on the replay. So that's what he was talking about. His audio is fine when it's streaming live, but then on the replay, it is out of sync. What can he do about that?
So when he's live, there's no hiccups, there's no desync, no anything like that. It's just on the replay.
That's how it seems, yes.
How is he downloading it, and where is he compressing that from? Because that could be absolutely what it is. Because just like, for instance, put us on blast here. We're not all perfect, but we tried downloading last week's AV Tech Talk to put on YouTube, and we could not get it to sync properly or even get sound. We had to enlist the help of the brother man down there, Jason, and find out how to what he used to get the proper format out of Facebook to upload to YouTube. So it could be whatever he's using to download it. And if you're just using Facebook, I don't necessarily recommend Facebook's download. I do recommend there's a couple other things. So
yep, he said just the replay and Facebook mostly. So that's,
I'd look into the one. It slips my mind. I know Omar used it, and Jason's the one that told us about it. So
he's saying stream to Facebook and the audio playback is out of sync.
What is he? So what is he saving it to though? Is he, where's he streaming to and saving this recording from?
I'm not sure. So you know what? Maybe if Justin wants to get a hold of us, send one of us a message that you've seen in the chat, either me or AV Educate. Give us a little more specifics, and then next week we can dive into it a little bit. Because of course we'll be back next Monday at 7:00. Same bat time, same bat channel.
you're not going to want to miss next week's either. I'm going to enjoy next week's.
Great. Do we have anything else from the panel? I see Scott's hand.
Yeah, I'm just following up on a chat item here from Robert Mangello. He said that Rob White summed up the NDI stuff on the Facebook channel. Is there a way to copy that and put it into this chat, Ed, or?
Yeah, I can do that.
And while you're doing that, Bodhi, can you walk us through how to do a local record on OBS? So if I just wanted to record something and just save it to a hard drive external to my my Mac or my Windows machine?
Sure. So to start a live stream, what you would do when you start recording or you start streaming here, you can also hit start recording at the same time. In the back end of settings, there is, again, this is where the advanced comes in, where it's file formatting and where you want it to go to, and you can set that up in the, I just have it. Yeah, right here. You can set up where it goes to here and here as well. So under your output section, recording path, again, it's not allowing me to do it because showing me a streaming because my face cam is being used. That's just how it works. And then you would browse your PC, select where you want it to go. So if it's a thumb drive, you select the thumb drive. If it's a USB hard drive, you select the USB hard drive. In our case, it's the Stream Deck back there with 128 gigabit USBs that wouldn't keep saving. We kept deleting and it wasn't working right. No, I'm just, but yeah, you select where the path is coming from and then you just go from there, and it'll automatically grab it for there.
So if I understood you right, you can not only stream, but you can do a local record as well at the same time?
At the same time, correct.
And how does that impact the CPU usage?
None, because you're not using the any more bearing on the CPU. I can't say none, but it's going to be so fractional, it's not even going to matter. Like, say, for instance, you're using 1.3% of your CPU, you might use 1.4. It's not going to create much of a difference because it's just sending that signal to a hard drive. The hard drive is going to be what's using all the resources at that point.
And why is it important to have low CPU usage during a stream or something like that?
Well, that's just a matter of your computer being able to handle the computing processes of everything that you're using. So say, for instance, like for myself, I have OBS running. I have a chat bot running. I have Spotify running. I have Discord running. I have my game running. I have Chrome running, and we all know Chrome can eat up resources like it's nobody else's business. So I have so much going on in the background that my CPU usage is important to me to base, so that way I don't buffer. Because if your CPU usage starts getting out of hand, it doesn't have anywhere to take it from. That's why I also use NVEC encoding, so it uses the processor on my graphics card to offload some of that processing power onto my graphics card. So what it's going to do is it's going to unload most of the processing power to my graphics card. Then whatever is over demanding for the graphics card automatically pushes it to my CPU. That's why in my experience, my CPU usage sometimes can be 0.3, 0.4, but that's because my graphics card's handling it. And typically that's on lower end games, like, I don't know, Minion Masters on Steam. It's a little card game where the guys get animated and come to life and fight each other. It's a low graphical game. It's not graphically intense. It's a cartoonish game. So when I'm streaming that, my CPU usage is like 0.2, 0.3%, because my CPU can handle the graphical output and the stream at the same time. Now, I play Call of Duty or Hyperscape or Apex, some of the major games that are highly graphical settings for CPU. I'm pushing anywhere between 1.5 to 1.7 on my CPU because my GPU is going, I need all the resources, go. Get out of here.
So I understand that you do build computers from scratch. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
So if somebody wanted a machine that would be badass, they could contact you?
Absolutely. And I will tell you right now, my first question out of my mouth will be, what are you trying to achieve with the computer? Ed, was it or was it not my first question to you when you asked me about a laptop?
Yeah, that's exactly what you asked the other day.
I will not overbuild a computer for no reason. I will build the computer the way you need it to do with enough room to do 0.5% overhead. So I will build it 50% better than you actually are trying to achieve, because other than that, you're just wasting your money. And money is money right now. So anything else?
Oh, come on, guys. There's got to be something somebody wants to talk about, even if it's not related to OBS.
Oh, fine. I'll sit here right now and say you are not going to want to miss next week's AV Tech Talk. We are diving into the A10 Pro and the A10 Mini. I am super excited for this as a personal streamer to be able to see if the A10 Pro can do what I need it to do to still provide my streams on the weekends while I'm on shows.
Are you suggesting that you have your hands on one of these hot little items?
I do not, but somebody by the name of Ed does.
I not only have one A10 Mini Pro, but my second A10 Mini Pro just showed up today as well.
Yeah, see?
And it's available for $35,000. Just so you know.
Exactly. It looks like Jason's got his hand up.
Yeah, just real quick, off subject. I just want everybody who's on here to know you guys are awesome, man. Taking time out of our nights from our family. You know, I saw Omar's daughter come in. I saw a few of you guys' children come in. Mine came in. It's amazing that we can sit down and do this, especially in this time, man, and that we have the ability to do this. I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you guys, man. You guys are all awesome.
We appreciate it.
And now a word from our sponsor.
Yeah, just thank you, man. I appreciate that. I've been holding that button. I've been waiting for it all day.
Yeah, I'm gonna give Jason a shout out over here for that magazine article that they put together, that you helped put together. That was awesome, amazing, and that was cool. That was really awesome, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's all Brian,
all
man. That's all Brian, Ignite Magazine. Thank you. He always supports everything. He's rad, man. He really is.
I heard they had a really good stream guy on there. Have you heard of him? No, nobody knows who he is. I think the combined efforts of Double X Bangs and Chris Brown, we kicked some butt on that, man. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Went really well. Any more questions?
So if we feel like we're at a good point here, guys, you know, our limit is 2 hours, but if we end early, we end early. It's not a big deal. So if Facebook looks clear to you guys and the chat, we feel pretty good about what we've seen in OBS, and we have no more questions about it. I'm perfectly okay, you know, closing that a little bit early. Obviously, my daughter's grabbing for my attention on the other side of this monitor now, as I'm sure the rest of our kids. So it's your call, Chris. How do you feel? How do you guys feel in the panel here and on Facebook right now, live out there? We've taken, I think, everybody's questions. If we missed anything, please comment now. We'll give you about 10-15 seconds to give that a comment down below in the chats. And in the community here, you guys know the rules. Just raise your hand, and if not, I think we're gonna have Ed close it out again like we did last time.
Yeah, I also think too, if there's any topics or some kind of software or hardware, if we can get our hands on it, that you want to see us go through, please let us know. You know, we're here for the community, like Omar just said. So we want to put out the things that you guys want to see. You can also look at the AV Educate page. There's some videos. Omar had done a couple demos, one on a decimator. He did one on Playback Pro. So you guys can check those out. And if you look at those and you say, oh, you know, there's still something I don't understand about one of those things, let us know. And we can always dive into that here. you know, at home, I'm a little limited on what gear I actually brought home, but you know, it looks like I might be getting a QL1 actually. I just found someone who's got one for a good price, so looks like I'm going to be bringing home a QL1, and I would be happy to do a dive on one of those. I know AV Educate just did an in-person. Omar, do you have any more in-person things coming up in the Florida area?
So yeah, so for Florida in Orlando, we have some things coming up right now, which Scott and me are organizing. We have a master camera class, which I'll let Scott dive into, and a lighting class. I will say that in Miami, we're going to stop for the moment. We are back at high alert, so I will not be doing anything down here with mass gatherings or any groups at all until that kind of comes back down. So we're going to move back to being online again and doing things back in Orlando since they're still a little more clear on that side. Scott, you want to jump in a little bit more about the math? You take that.
Yeah, thank you, Omar. On the 20th of July, we're going to do a camera master class that's going to be put on by Frenchie, if you know Frenchie, and Jeff Brown and Sean Fox, and some of the 3 top camera guys in the Orlando area. That is going to be hosted by, there we go. Look at that. Perfect. That'll be put on by OPAV and AV Educate. And then shortly thereafter, we're going to do a lighting class, which we'll get you more details on that. The good thing is we also are going to live stream the camera masterclass. Because of the restrictions with COVID, we're not going to be able to jam everybody in the warehouse. So we're going to pick, I think the max we can have is 10 people right now. So we're going to pick 10 people to be in the audience, and then we're going to stream it out from there. So stay tuned to AV Educate in the GDN. We will put that information on there for you. And if there's anything you guys want us to cover in a live scenario, i.e. at one of the local warehouses, hey, let us know. Go ahead, Omar. Omar.
So just to jump on back, and Chris, you can kind of take over this if I'm not giving it all. There's just a question asked about what are good OBS educational tools or sites to watch tutorials and deep dive into it. Obviously, AV Educate is one of them. YouTube also has a plethora of information. In the beginning of this video, we also talked about how there isn't exactly a manual for it. We will timestamp this in the YouTube channel about what Bodhi reviewed and kind of give you guys a, like, hey, between this time and this time this was reviewed, and here's reviewed this, and stream keys and things like that. If you want us to dive more into something, we can dive more into it if we didn't answer anything correctly. But yeah, so Chris, do you have any other source other than what I've said that might be a resource to somebody else?
For a beginner's guide to OBS, I mean, YouTube is going to be your best resource as far as finding the beginning matrix to OBS. If there's anything in particular you want to know or any questions that you have, you can always reach out to me personally. I'll do the best I can to answer them and explain them the best I can through messaging. Or if not, maybe if we have enough interest in it, it's something that I can throw together a class on, so that way we can dive into it deeper. So just keep in mind too, I am going to be putting some, actually me and Omar were talking, and I think Scott were talking about me putting together kind of like an OBS manual class, creating my own version of a manual of what you need to know in order to run OBS, what the best settings are and things like that. So look for that in the future. I know it won't be instant, but if you have any questions or anything, you can always reach out to me. I do want to touch on one subject that I saw I believe Rob said something about MSI for AMD always. In the past, yes, you definitely want to look at ASUS for MSI for AMD now. ASUS for AMD will absolutely crush and devastate an MSI board. The reason why I say that is because it opens up more lanes of channels for all the cores that the newer AMD chips have. I know I'm going completely geek and talk here. So if none of you understand what I'm saying, just go ahead and nod your head in agreement, and you'll figure it out one day. The new AMD Ryzen CPUs have tons of cores in them that the MSI boards lack with signaling, basically, and also allow for a better continuity to the board for memory. So don't knock the ASUS boards.
It looks like Omar's being upstaged. So, But yeah, guys, and if you want to do a beginner's hands-on OBS class, we can try to do it via Zoom, or if we want to do a hands-on in real time, I think we can reach out to our friends at OPAV and try to work something out. So hit us up in the chat or hit up Omar or Ed or Chris directly and let us know. And then guys, just to let you know, Omar and I are partnering, AV Educate and the GDN are partnering to help provide all levels of training. Obviously, AV Educate's more on the technical side and GDN's more on the life skills, business skills side. And I encourage you to check out our Facebook page if you're not there already. We also do a talk on Wednesday nights, and this particular Wednesday is going to be on financial literacy. We have quite a few coaches now that are going to spiel their best practices on financial literacy. Thank you very much, everyone. I really appreciate your time here, and I think we'll kick it. Well, wait a minute. We're going to Omar's daughter. Can you please speak?
You ready? Okay, go.
Thank you for watching, everybody.
You're welcome.
Cut. That's it. End it.
Cut. That's the end of the show.
All right, everybody. We're gonna wrap it up for tonight. Again, thank you to all of our panel. Thank all of you who are giving us some great questions, some great topics. Stay tuned. Monday nights, we're here at 7 p.m. I'll drop that number if you want to be part of our Zoom panel, that you can text us, get into the room. It's great to be in the room where it happens. And we got coming up later this month, there'll be a kind of demo on QLab. If any of you have been interested in QLab, Ori is going to host that for us. Nat, who couldn't be here tonight, will be doing another session on Stream Deck and Companion. So we got a couple things in the gate. So please come join us. Send us more topics to cover. If you have something you'd like to cover, reach out to us and talk to us. Tell us what you got to offer, and we'll see if we can make it happen. So from all of us to all of you out there, have a good night, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, Facebook.
Guys, bye.